Hi, so I'm Steve Dobson, Director of the Trademark Helpline, and I've got the real pleasure of having a guest with me today. It's Martin Buckle from Atlantic Timber, one of our most locally located business clients. And today's all about you, Martin, and the business. I want to learn a bit more about Atlantic Timber, tell people watching what the business does, and your story, really. So over to you. Tell me about Atlantic Timber. Who do you help, and what do you do?
Yeah, so we've been in Altrincham for 43 years now. We service every level of the construction industry, from enthusiastic DIYers to your white van man, independent joiners, builders, landscapers, hospitals, schools, property developers. Everybody who needs timber for a construction project, we can offer that. And I always tell people our USP, or a few USPs, is our machining facilities. Anything that customers come in with a requirement, with a cutting list, we can cut it for them, saves them time on the job site or at home. A lot of the DIYers perhaps haven't got the skills or the tools to do it, so we can cut their material for them. Tradesmen love that facility because they don't want to be making a mess on site. Everything turns up pre-machined, all they've got to do is screw it together. So yeah, it saves them a lot of time, a lot of labour time on site. And yeah, our customer base has sort of grown and grown. It started off as a predominantly trade environment, with a few sort of retail customers sneaking in, but we've kind of grown over the years to everybody in the sort of the Altrincham, Sale, Timperley, anyway, Greater Manchester and Cheshire area. They can come for doors, flooring, worktops, construction timber, landscaping timber. Like I say, any project on the home or a building site, we've probably got the materials that they need for that.
That's amazing. I know we were speaking before with my business partner JP about how much he's using your services at the moment, both from the goods perspective and also getting the cutting done. Because he's a bit of a hobbyist as well, likes to do as much as he wants as he can do on his own, but doesn't have the skills or the tools available to do those precision kind of cuts that you need. So it's great that you offer that service not just to the trade, but also to the individuals as well.
Well, it benefits everybody really, and that's how we've set our stall out, as that's our speciality. And people come from miles around, and like I say, it doesn't just apply to DIYers, but even tradesmen. If they're doing a job on a site, a customer's house, they're going to be cutting something on a workbench, under a gazebo, on someone's drive, and it can be difficult. So by the time they've got their saw out, set it up, squared it, they could have come to us. We can cut it on our machinery that gets a perfect cut every time. They can be back on the site and crack on with the job. So
and maybe go on to another job the same day. So it makes everybody's life a bit more efficient and possibly commercial for them as well. So.
And the best customers, they come to us with a list the day before. We cut it all to size. They can take it to someone's house and build a set of wardrobes or something like that. So it's great.
Essentially, you've gone into the click to order space as well, haven't you? So which potentially trade, didn't have that facility as quickly as retail did. But yeah, I mean, I can. My tradespeople in my network, I'm sure, I know a few of them that use you as well. They would swear by having that stuff ready to go at 7 a.m. on the day they need to do the job.
And it works two ways. The people who sort of give us a cutting list the day before, it's great. They can come in, take it to the site. But the while you wait cutting service as well is great, because there's very few places who can do that. If you are desperate, you've cut something wrong. If you've had to wait a couple of days to have it cut and you want to get on with the job, that doesn't work. You want to be able to nip in somewhere, jog on the spot for 5 minutes, have it cut, and then you can carry on. So
it's like an A&E department for wood cutting. It's a good point actually. Because these things do happen, don't they? Things go wrong, the measure wrong, or a slip of the hand or whatever, and it's you need to go and do the whole thing again. So that's a really valuable service again. Cool. Okay, and you've mentioned like your USPs, but what do you think makes the business really stand out from the crowd, from the competition?
I think a couple of things. The machining capability is a big thing that I always talk about, and we've always tried to go down the kind of the quality route, because we were next door to a B&Q for 25 years, as you probably know, and they went down the sort of the pilot high and sell it cheap route, and sometimes we couldn't necessarily compete being a one branch independent, so we opted to differentiate ourselves on quality. So we try and have our skirting board and architraves machined out of a higher grade than you'd get at most of the nationals, so that it might make us a couple of p a metre dearer, but we'd know that we're going to sell every piece. Customers are going to come to us if they want something that's quality. And things like decorative products, like veneered products or highly durable products, things that you couldn't get at your average builder's merchant. So we tried to go down that sort of quality route. And as a result, we supply into some really kind of niche industries like campervan conversions. We sell a really lightweight plywood. The marine industry, we sell to a couple of our best customers are narrowboat builders because they want really nice quality. It's got to be dead durable and got an attractive veneer on it. You know, those sorts of slightly niche products. But yeah, you wouldn't find that at any of the big nationals. That's not their game. They want sort of high volume, arguably low margin. But we thought, well, let's take a sidestep from that and stock stuff that is specialist, that's decorative. And it means we maybe lose out the odd customer who just wants the cheapest of the cheap. Sure. But we do get the customers who come to us because they know they're going to get quality gear. Yeah.
And there's loyalty there as well, isn't there? Because once you get into a community like the narrowboats, then word's going to get round, and you're going to become the trusted kind of go-to place for those types of people. And obviously, campervan conversion, that's taken off a massive way in the last few years, thanks to
staycations.
Government policy mainly. But yeah, so it's good to have that flexibility that you're not relying on one specific industry either, because things can happen that are outside of your control. That's what business is about, isn't it? And having that kind of adaptability, but you can only have that really when you've got the ability to go down the quality route and almost do a design to order or cut to order. Whereas the B&Qs and the like are probably just looking at what the most popular thing that we sell. Let's sell more of that, and hopefully someone can make it work with their project. And actually, most of the time it wouldn't work perfectly well. So
it's very price driven, that market as well. It's all about cheap.
Sure.
Whereas if you go down the quality route, price is slightly less of a concern. That's a secondary option. Is it going to do the job? Is it going to be durable? And people don't want comeback as well. So we try and sell products that we can stand by. We've got good relationships with our suppliers, and the sort of customers that we want are the ones that are happy to pay a little bit more, but they know that the job's going to be right and they're not going to be called back in 2 years to do it again. They can put something on that's going to last 10 or 20 years. So that's a nice market to be in. It's a bit less price driven.
And it's one of the reasons why you're still going now. I mean, what is it, 30 years?
43 years.
43 years that you've been going as a family business as well, isn't it? I mean, businesses like yours don't last unless they've been doing a good job for all that time, and obviously that comes from the top and the values that have been put in place both by your father-in-law and now yourself as the leader.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. And so, why do you feel that now was the right time to kind of explore protecting the brand that's been built up over that time?
I think historically, just because of the internet and the advent of the internet, before that we were a local business. So most of our customers lived probably within a 10 or 20 mile radius. But now that we can deliver further, and our e-commerce platform, we introduced that about 8 years ago, and that's opened up our reach to national. And we've done a few deliveries to places like Ireland or Jersey, so we've kind of got international, and that means that we're going to be seen by a lot more people. And I think that was what prompted us to think maybe we need to be a bit, see a bit of a bigger picture, and rather than just focus on people driving to us in a van and picking the gear up and going to do a job locally, we're delivering nationally. Every now and then I look at our orders through the website and there'll be a decking order to Plymouth, and I think, God, there must be a million places between here and Plymouth where you can buy decking. But I suppose that's the power of a good e-commerce website, the power of SEO work. So I think when there's more eyes on you, that's what makes you think maybe we need to be a bit sort of have our eyes open to to things that can impact the business. Yeah,
100%. And you make good points there about obviously now you're kind of investing in the digital footprint of your brand, and there's lots of witchcraft and wizardry that happens now with getting to the top of Google and get yourself in front of people's eyes on social media, and obviously that's great because you get more awareness, potentially get more visitors to the website, more purchases, but it also puts you head above the parapet. And most ideas are influenced, if not directly copied, from other people's ideas, and not just from a perspective of, well, someone else is going to call themselves Atlantic Timber and do exactly what you do. But even if it was a tradesperson who called themselves Atlantic Joinery or Atlantic, I don't know, kitchens and bathrooms, whatever, there's still an element there you could potentially get confusion, isn't there? So you wouldn't want that to happen really, and that's important to take the steps to kind of lock down that goodwill you've built up over that time. I suppose the worst thing could happen is if somebody goes to what they think is you, pays some money out, expects a level of service or a level of good quality that then doesn't come to fruition, gets let down, and then you get a nasty complaint or a negative review, and it's not even your fault. So I mean that's something that we see commonly in our line of work. But yeah, okay, that's an interesting points made. And why, given that you obviously it came into your mind that this was the right time, why didn't you feel able to do that yourself, and you wanted to seek potentially professional help with that?
Well, I think it's like a lot of things that have got kind of a bit of a legal kind of connection to them. You think you need to get the professional advice. You need to make sure that you're doing it in the right way. You don't want to protect the wrong thing, because it can be, like I say, like anything that's got legal ramifications. If you make a wrong step and you've trademarked the wrong thing, so yeah, we just thought we needed a professional to look at that for us. Yeah.
Okay, and I suppose your background, obviously you work in this business, but it's not your line of work, isn't it?
No.
So I wouldn't know how to cut a piece of wood.
Yeah.
I don't have a jigsaw, and therefore I wouldn't know where I'd go to help with that. So, but yeah, lots of people do trademark applications themselves. There is some information out there that you can get an idea of what to do with it, but I suppose from your perspective, it's just not worth the risk. Get it wrong, was it? And
no. And yeah, the time I want to spend my time doing the things that are core to my business, things that are sort of kind of support services. I'd rather the people who are specialists in those to do those. And I'll focus on what we're doing on a day-to-day basis, but I'd rather seek professional advice for stuff that's not in my normal day-to-day remit.
Yeah, and you mentioned cost in regards to your own products and services, but how much was cost or price a factor in deciding whether to use, for example, ourselves?
Yeah, well, that's another thing, I suppose. Although it's like I say, you want professional advice. If that professional advice is a massive cost, I think that would make me think I'll do a bit of research myself. But when we first started talking about it, the cost seemed like not quite a no-brainer, but it's certainly something that was, for the value that it was going to add to the business and the security it was going to add to the business, it wasn't a big cost. So I think the pricing is right. It's at a point where people think there's a value to it, but it's not so expensive that I'm not gonna do it. So I think that is key as well, to deciding to do something yourself. If you think the price is crazy, it's more likely to make you think I'll have a go at it myself. But if it's not, then I think that it's an easy decision to go with a professional if the cost isn't too high.
I always say it's like you could cut your own hair, couldn't you? I think a lot of people did that in 2020, 2021, but with mixed results, especially in this office. I think you make a good point. And with a haircut, for example, I wouldn't pay probably more than I don't have much hair to go off anyway, but I wouldn't pay more than like 15, 20 quid for my haircuts. I know some people spend much more than that, and I'm like, well, why? There's no point, is there? At the end of the day, it's going to grow back. I mean, for what you end up spending on protecting your brand, it probably works out at like, something like 50 quid a year over the next 10 years. So it's not huge. I mean, you've probably got a lot higher bills to pay than that, haven't you?
Yeah.
And then you think about the value, because obviously it's a family business, and there's no sign of that changing. But if you wanted to exit at any point and pass that goodwill and value on to a buyer, or even to seek investment and finance, for growth, one of the assets you've got to leverage is, that trademark, and it does give you a bit more weight in those conversations. So
yeah, well, that was one of the things I started seeing a business coach. And some of the things that we spoke about, we do look at kind of exit kind of strategies, and protecting your IP was something that we did talk about. And these little parts of the business that have got a value to them, are they protected? Are they documented? Because that all makes the business more attractive to a potential buyer. So that was one of the things. Although that's not on my sort of immediate horizon, it is nice to know that that's done and that's protected, and that somebody looking to buy the business would say, have you protected your IP? And we could say, yes, you know, we've done that.
And also that someone's kind of monitoring your situation on an ongoing basis and could jump in and help out with anything that may arise if you do have any infringements and stuff like that. So good. Right, moving away from trademarks then, probably because we're coming to the end of our time. But for everybody out there who's in business, I mean, these are always great questions to ask, I think. So what's the most important lesson you've learned since becoming the leader of Atlantic Timber?
Oh gosh, that's a big question. There's a few. I think something that, and this has become more apparent in the last couple of years, is about protecting your people. We've really sort of seen that as a real valuable resource. I think because we're in a bit of a niche industry, attracting people to jobs is tricky. So keeping our staff, I know there's been a cost of living kind of crisis in the last few years, and we've kind of responded to that by keeping our staff happy with pay rises, trying to keep them happy, because I think once you've got good people, it is difficult to recruit those people to replace them. So I'd say people is definitely a big thing. Community engagement from a local business, that's really important for us. Although, like I said before, our reach has now gone kind of national, we're still essentially kind of a local business. So we're well
had the
connected.
MP over, didn't you, recently?
Yeah. We spoke to our new Labour MP. It was nice that he had about an hour chat about things affecting business, and it's nice to have that sort of local connection. And I sometimes feel, because we have been here for 42 years, people see us as kind of a credible, kind of long-standing business. I sometimes have to pinch myself every now and then, just because I just think it's just me and it's just our little business. But other people see us as a pillar of the community. So it's nice to have those connections with the community. So
we always say when people come to visit our office, where are you based? It was like, oh yeah, past Atlantic Timber and J Davidson Scrap Metal. Everyone knows where they are in Altrincham.
It's a landmark business,
exactly.
which is nice. And it's amazing how many places I go, and as soon as you tell people where you work, people say, oh, I've had some wood from there, or I bought my doors from there. So I think anybody within a 5-mile radius of us has probably that's done some DIY has probably been to us at some stage. So it's nice to have that reputation.
Well, long may it continue, and hopefully we'll be there with you as you inevitably grow and maybe expand, even further afield. So thank you so much for your time, Marty. It's been great to have you over, and we'll have to do it again at some point in the future.
Sounds good.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers.
Thanks.